NewsX World as we get them. Let's move on now, though, and a planned round of US-India trade talks has been called off. Negotiators were due in New Delhi from August the 25th to August the 29th. The move delays a proposed bilateral trade agreements. It also dashes India's hopes of relief from new US tariffs starting on August the 27th. President Donald Trump imposed an extra 25% duty on Indian goods over New Delhi's continued imports of Russian oil. The new tax will raise duties on some exports to as high as 50%. Talks have stalled after 5 rounds. Disputes remain over India's farm and dairy markets and its refusal to halt Russian oil purchases. Well, with us to discuss the announcement that we have had of these talks being postponed and called off for later this month, Dr. Ajay Dua, a former Secretary of Commerce and senior economist who joins us live from New Delhi. Dr. Dua, thank you for your time. How significant is this for India that these talks will not now take place ahead of that August 27th date in which tariffs are set to jump?
Thank you very much, Joshua, for having me. I think India would have liked to see the 6th round of negotiations take place on the 25th of August, as had been scheduled some time ago. So to that extent, there would be a degree of disappointment with this announcement of yesterday. But at the same time, I do sincerely hope that President Trump's statement yesterday after meeting President Putin that the 50% levied by him for countries which are importing oil from the US is going to be highly consequential in the sense that it's a weighty tariff and that he might revisit it shortly. So these comments give India some hope that the additional 25% levied on 25%, I think we'll have to live with the basic 25% till such time as the bilateral trade agreement takes place. But the additional 25%, which is, call it retaliatory tariff or secondary tariff, though that it seems the president is willing to have a relook at. If that happens, I would say yesterday's summit meeting between the two presidents would be beneficial to India, and by the very fact that it had been postponed to the 27th earlier, that means after the 6th round of negotiations on 25th was supposed to begin in India. I think an announcement to that effect of postponing the levy of the additional secondary tariff from 25% to 50% could take place.
Yes.
That's the kind of an indication which comes out clearly if from President Trump's own enunciation.
Yes. Dr. Dua, let's build on that because, of course, these secondary tariffs that have been placed on India for purchasing of Russian oil is an outlier. India is the only country that has been hit with this extra tariff rate. And of course, you allude to those vital conversations that took place in Alaska just in recent days. And of course, that situation itself is not fixed. There is instability. No deal has been agreed. We know Trump's rhetoric can sometimes change depending on whether progress is being made or not. Do you think India is being made a scapegoat in this situation? And do you think that Donald Trump himself his opinion and his decisions on the Russia-Ukraine conflict could be devastating to the Indian economy?
Not quite. I think devastating would be a very strong word, but it would certainly impose a burden because the tariff would be on about 55% of our exports to the US. out of $90 billion. And to that extent, an additional 25, the secondary tariff, would impact India's trade. It will come, but it could compel India to look for markets elsewhere. And also, it would probably hit the countries, the so-called Make in India program, which we are pursuing in India, that could get hit with this additional, the US market not being available, because Indian goods under the Make in India program are based on certain degree of protectionism, and they are as such not too competitive. The additional 25% would would have made the situation worse. But the relief is President Trump postponing the secondary tariff of 25% to a date linked with the progress of the Ukraine, the discussions on Ukraine between the two presidents, and maybe the third one, President Zelensky, also might.
Dr. Dua, we are unfortunately out of time, but thank you ever so much for such great insight on this topic, which has so many permutations, which aren't just